Fit and flow, those are two things that always attracted me to tattooing. My big interest was the idea that you could lay out a bodysuit on somebody. That was the coolest thing in the world.
Tattoo Now has been helping connect tattoo collectors and the curious with world-class talent from all around the globe since the mid-90s. You are invited to join us as we dive into the heart of tattoo now!
How goes it? I am ecstatic to be back on the air with a show, or I guess on the internet as the case may be. This is the pilot of our Tattoo Now reboot show, and we have to get this out so that we can plug two awesome benefits. One that's happening at the London Tattoo Convention and one that's happening in Richmond. Both of them are happening online. We have a lot of great, amazing interviews already recorded, and I am busy editing them. So if you enjoy, get ready, there's more coming. It feels amazing to be catching up with artists who are truly pushing boundaries and bettering themselves and bettering their clients. It's very inspirational and invigorating. This episode we have a stellar international lineup of brilliant tattooers. A couple surrealists, a traditional fella from Europe. One thing they all have in common is they love tattooing, and I'm excited to be able to bring their thoughts to you. Not sure where you're beaming in from, but tattoonow.com is the home base for all of this content. You can catch up updated image galleries and new videos, all the show notes, all that stuff, tattoonow.com. In this episode, we have a stellar set of international tattoo artists, all brilliant with amazing things to say that you are going to be excited to be able to tune into. Ivana is a world-traveling international superstar of a tattooer, currently in California, and she beams in to talk about her amazing tattoos and kind of the way that she keeps control of her artistic career. She's very self-empowered. It's amazing to watch her carve her path, and everybody will be able to take inspiration from her. Her message is definitely one of love, which is great. It does seem like California has a center of love there. Point being, it's a great interview, and we have a good clip of it, as well as Markus, Lenhard, and Kaia Heightland. They beam in from Canada. They are biomechanical, abstract masters of both large-scale tattoos and other arts and different mediums. Markus is a longtime friend who it's great to always catch up with, very smart. And Kaia also, an intellectual coming from Canada, so it's great to hear about kind of getting into the scene there. And I'm excited. I will be catching up with them in October for a Reinventing Live event that is forming as we speak. So tattooeducation.com if that piques your interest. Then we have two insane benefit art shows to talk about. Stef Bastian is putting one on that is debuting at the London Tattoo Convention. That includes the likes of the Blue family and Philip and Robert Atkinson, Jojo Ackerman, all sorts of amazing luminaries of tattooing at the London show. And Jesse Smith is hosting an arts benefit, a live painting. Those paintings are being auctioned off. The Giving Arts benefit includes the likes of Dan Hazelton, Aso Andrews, Gary Viveriel, Humble, O.G. Abel, many more. Both of these art exhibits are available for bid online. So if you're watching this, then I'm going to give you the information to go to their website, so they're going to give it to you so that you can bid on these amazing masterpieces and donate to great causes. Then we're going to close the show with some thoughts about how tattooing can truly help us become more complete, better people. And in some ways, or not in some ways, in many ways, or in scientific ways, this can actually help the world become a better place. I know it's kind of hokey, but if you watch to the end, you'll get to hear all about the hokey. For now, I'm your host, Gabe Ripley. Find out about me at GabeRipley.com. I've got some videos, seminars, links out to interviews, and whatnot. I was recently at the New York City Tattoo Convention catching up with people, the Empire State Tattoo Convention in the heart of New York City, and it's amazing to be able to catch up with everybody. Guy Aitchison was there. He did a couple seminars. We got some recordings, and like I said, I love going to conventions, so if you see me, say hi. One thing is for certain, I have opinions about everything and love to talk. So, and I love to hear and engage in conversation. So let's catch up. Speaking of, the upcoming events that I have scheduled happen in October the 14th in Rockford, Illinois, the Reinventing Live event. The details are coming in as we speak, but go to tattooeducation.com and you'll find out more. And if you can get to Chicago and the airplane tickets are dirt cheap, then maybe we can catch up there. We will also be webcasting that. Again, tattooeducation.com. And then I'm heading over to Bucharest, November 1st to the 3rd for the 10th annual Bucharest Tattoo Convention in Romania. Kosti puts on an amazing show. I'm ecstatic to be able to get over there to catch up with European friends. It's been a long time. So it's not too late. November 1st to the 3rd, tattooconvention.ro for the information. And I'll be bringing my equipment, maybe doing some interviews and whatnot. Definitely catching up with some castles. The venue looks amazing. So, and the lineup is awesome. Going to catch up. Bob Tyrell's going to be there. Tommy Lee, Emilio Gonzalez, Barbara Sharazen Garazova. Sorry about the pronunciation. Adi Pancho, Jose Gonzalez. It's going to be awesome. I'm ecstatic. So if you have any questions for any of those folks, let me know and I'll get the camera. Maybe they'll be kind enough to do an interview. I do love to travel and share about tattoos. So if you're a convention or a studio and might be interested in bringing the Tattoo Now show or some seminars or professional development to your neck of the woods, then give us a call. 413-585-9134 or management@tattoonow.com. This show is brought to you by Tattoo Now. For over 2 decades, we have been building websites for tattooers. I keep hearing artists arguing about the Instagram and Facebook algorithms. Google wants to deliver the highest quality content that it can to people that are searching for it. Google's designed to deliver you content. TattooNow.com will help you build websites. We also do consulting. If you're an artist and are looking for a boost in your career, a studio, or a tattoo supply company, boom. We have decades of documentation at our disposal to help you connect dots, connect opportunities, and it's exciting to be able to take the lessons that we've learned and to be able to pass them off to everybody else. So think about Tattoo Now for your tattoo shop or tattoo career or supply company or event consulting. TattooNow.com facilitates both live and recorded webinars. There's over 24 webinars for tattoo artists that want to learn how to better their tattooing. We can't teach you how to tattoo, but these master tattooers could potentially teach you how to tattoo a little better. And we also have original art seminars, perfect for apprentices who want to create art that is symbiotic with the tattoo world. As well as business seminars. I have the Building the Great Tattoo Business Seminar, as well as a couple others. So check it out, tattoonow.com/webinars. And Tattoo Now is actively helping recruit and or place awesome tattooers. We have relationships with dozens of amazing tattoo shops all around the world who are always looking for high quality, positive, hardworking, ethical, moral tattooers. Management@tattoonow.com or give us a call, 413-585-9134. We could talk about the possibilities, what it might take. And we do love to be able to match amazing tattooers and awesome tattoo shop environments. So if you might be a shop or an artist interested, definitely can't hurt to get in contact. If you are a tattooer or an apprentice, Reinventing the Tattoo is basically required reading. If you haven't read it, just know that there's thousands and thousands and thousands of tattooers that are critiquing your tattoos through the lens of reinventing the tattoo. And not only do you get Kaia Heightland's fucking amazing brain, but he's bringing in guest artists, guest chapters, and guest lessons all the time. Reinventingthetattoo.com if you are a tattooer or an apprentice. Collectors and artists should be heading to Richmond every year for the Richmond Tattoo and Arts Festival. It's happening every September. And Jesse Smith and Kenny Brown are putting on an amazing show and revitalizing it. Brilliant lineups. The Richmond Tattoo and Arts Academy is happening, where Jesse is bringing in amazing artists to help teach. So if you're, again, tattooers or apprentices, it's a great spot to land to learn. Do not miss it in the future. RVATattooArts.com is the website. The last couple of videos we uploaded were just short clips. We have Mark from Needle Jig talking about the round magnum theory and some of the traditional morals and ethics of tattooing, which I think are pretty amazing. And then Josh Payne, a short but sweet interview with an ink master, and he's a great guy. So you can check those out on our YouTube channel, tattoonow.com/YouTube. Okay, so let's catch up with Ivana. I first saw our next guest's work over a decade ago online. She was in Australia at the time, although she grew up in Slovakia. When asked, though, she's truly a world citizen who lives everywhere. She's always tattooed. She's, to the best of my knowledge, hasn't had any other job.
If you follow her work, it's her style is constantly evolving, but there's a signature that's always there because you could tell that it's her work. You definitely want to check out her awesome YouTube channel. It's filled with professional videos. She's taught seminars and has recently been working on merchandising her artwork, which we'll get into a little bit. She tattoos at friends' studios all around the world, so you can catch up with her on her website to see where she is. And it's always fun to catch up with her in person. She's got an amazing tattoo sleeve from Boris, and always schools me in a sense of style. I'm very honored to be speaking with Ivana. You can find her at Ivana Tattoo Art and at Ivana Tattoo Art on Instagram. Thanks for taking the time to do this interview.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we'll start off with a simple lowball question. What do you love most about tattooing?
I love the connection between, when it comes to skin is my absolutely favorite medium. So I like that live connection between my clients, pretty much. That's my absolutely favorite. And it's always different. I never know what to expect. I never know what to get. It's always challenging. And like I said, it's always different. Yeah. So I think that's my probably favorite. And like I said, the connection especially.
It's do you find yourself being part of a larger story with your clients?
Okay. I mean connection because every person for me has different energy, and that's what I find very interesting. And I feel very honored, for example, to tattoo somebody for life or create something for them so suitable. That's how that's when I talk about connection. This is part of it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, watching the magic of a tattooer helping the client kind of become who they want to be.
Absolutely. And I'm just making statement piece for them, whatever is suitable for them, something what represents them. It's their work. And I never repeat my tattoos. I cannot even actually copy myself or repeat after myself because I love to create something spontaneous at the moment. So exactly how I feel or how everything goes, that's what's gonna happen. And that's the statement piece my client's gonna wear.
Yeah, cool. So can we talk about I know there's other videos where you talk about it, but maybe talk about that process a little bit. So a client comes to you, what's the best process look like for you?
The best process for me, my client, I only do consultations by email, but my consultation is tell me 1, 2 words, that's it. If you want to a little bit include something, if it is some particular elements you would like to put there, because some people like to combine, let's say, a few things together, but I don't need too much because I get overwhelmed. So just let's keep it very simple and clean. So let's say my client say, okay, I want to portrait of this animal. And I'm like, okay, tell me particular animal, and that's all. And I will go from there. So I prepare references online, and when I see the client, that's how the colors comes to me. That's how the dynamic of the piece comes to me. So I really don't prepare anything in advance. I only need references. That's all. So I can get better idea. Sometimes I have to do my search. Obviously, like somebody tells me, oh, I want to get. I don't know, maybe like some animal, but I don't know anything about this animal or some particular piece of something. So I will search a little bit so I know exactly what is it. So I can have a better description or better imagination of the particular picture or piece, and I will go from there. So I will, let's say 5-10 images, and when I see my client, I can see the colors, I can see how my clients I can just fill it out. And based on that, I will match colors, I will match the dynamic of the piece. Sometimes it can be more whimsical and playful. Sometimes it can be more bold. So it really, really depends how I feel about a particular client. That's how I do all of my tattoos.
And how much do they get to see of the finished design beforehand? They don't. They're putting their trust in you.
They don't see anything. They trust me, and I'm very lucky with my clients because I think because of my style, it's a little bit I would say. I can say unique or different,
sure.
and it's very specific. So for this reason, the clients I'm attracting, they are more open-minded, or it's like this I would say group of people, like how they say, like you attract your own tribe. So when they come to me, they already have the idea. We just leave it up to you, And sometimes I can pick placement. Sometimes I pick the size. Actually, most of the cases. Placement, I can be flexible, of course, because some people don't want to have it like too seen or something.
Sure.
So we can talk about it, but most of the time, really, my clients give me absolutely freedom.
Awesome, very fun.
So they don't know what.
How long did it take for you? How long did it take for you to build a clientele that was that trusted you like that?
I would say for the past 5 years. I'm tattooing about 19 years now.
19. So what year did you start?
Around 2000 maybe,
Previously.
or 1999. I don't remember. It was around 2000. So maybe I'm tattooing maybe around 19 years.
Yeah, cool. And
so
you're self-taught. I mean, I imagine that you pick up techniques when you're guesting with other tattooers and sharing. But for the most part, did you ever go to art school or?
No, I never had any formal art training, or I never did any art school. I used to draw since I was a child, just for fun. And later on, I used to do graffiti. Always drawing in the school, always drawing. That was kind of my hobby, or really what I something enjoy. And right about when I was finishing school, tattooing just came to me. My friend got me tattoo, and she's like, "Do you want to try how to tattoo?" I was like, "Sure." That was it for me. So right about I finished my school, I did my how we call it, the graduation, or I don't know.
Yep, graduation.
Yeah. So I did all of my school. I started to tattoo my friends, my family, and that was it for me.
And this is in Slovakia, or?
That was in Slovakia, back
cool.
in Slovakia, and I didn't know anything about like how to put machine together. Actually, it was machine for permanent makeup. It wasn't even particularly for tattooing. It had one coil, and I didn't know that I have to replace needles. I was thinking, one needle is good enough for like whatever, you know. So the skin was bleeding, and it was just a mess a little bit, and I didn't have gloves. Like I don't know anything about hygiene at that point.
Sure.
And there wasn't tattoo studio, so I couldn't learn from anybody. And in Slovakia at that time, some of my friends, they were going to Germany, so I was like, can you please bring me some tattoo magazine? So sometimes they bought me some tattoo magazine, and that's how I saw like how the machine is built, how to put the rubbers around the needle and everything. So somehow I put it together, and it took me just longer to figure it out, everything. And later on, of course, I visited like overseas, some tattoo studios. So I was trying to look and ask the questions, and that's how basically I improved.
What were some of those first studios you visited?
It was in Czech Republic. This particular one, I forgot the name of it. It was, like I said, many years ago. But there was this nice guy, and I was asking him, like, can you please, like, give me a little, like, advice on how to, like, set up machine properly and how it works. So he showed me. He was tattooing that time. He was working, but he was kind enough to show me how the machine works and everything for a few minutes, and that was, for me, of course, game changer. I was like, okay, I got it now.
So I imagine it's always a constant evolution of technical abilities.
Oh, absolutely. That time,
that
because it's very different. That time when I used to use coil machine, I used to do my own needles. I used to set up my machines. Every particular like skin was different, so I have to learn how to set up machine. But that was all nice. You know, I cannot even compare it now with this new rotary machines. It's so easy. It's like drawing with a pen, basically.
Sure. No, the technology and its impact on the tattoo world is amazing. Do you use many computers for your design process, or you still stay like you're drawing mostly on the skin? But as far as preparation goes, or
I think very old school. Like I said, I just find some image online, and even stencil I do by hand, because I don't know. I'm focusing more on shapes when I tattoo, so I don't have to have necessarily all the details. It's a little bit, combination of abstract and painting and whatever. So for me, it's the most important proportion. And I really like to work from the photograph, so I can see very sharply when it comes to, for example, animals or flowers or faces. I need to have the clearest image possible. So I'm looking for the large, high resolution images, and the rest I draw it by hand directly as I print it out. I draw it by hand, and then I'm just making it up on the skin. Yeah, so when it comes to everything like a shading, or if I need to add something there and backgrounds, I just make it up.
Nice. Now you do use computers. I remember when you've come through to do guest spots, like it's almost seemed like you weren't done with your day until you're on your computer, posting up your tattoos into the right spots. And imagine that for your merchandise, you're on the computer a bit, or do you work with other people that are computer people?
I work with other people because honestly, I don't know too much about computers. I'm just happy to do my emails and all of this, and I don't even want to spend much time on it. It's not my profession, so I work with for different designers. But what I do, again, old school, I just draw something on the paper, or I do kind of like a collage. I cut it, I print out something, I cut it, and I write down what I desire, or I just explain to them what I desire to achieve, what kind of look, and they will do it for me.
Awesome. And then what kind of, so I saw stickers when we were in Vegas. What other types of merchandise are you creating these days? So
right now, I created ITA Los Angeles. It's a clothing company, and I'm having my first sweats right now, and the t-shirts and the hats. That's everything is out already. I don't have it on website yet except hats, But the sweats and everything, it is for sale, but people would have to direct message me on Instagram or send me email on info@ivanatattooart.com. I have a few different styles, a few different washes, few different cuts, few different designs. As of now, I released 3 different designs. It's a torn heart, biomechanical heart, and leopard. And so it's more like a contemporary high street fashion. Those are also more expensive pieces because the process it took me over 1 year just to create it and find the proper company, and everything had to be on point. So it's like distress, and it was like a few different procedures how to do it. And the t-shirts I have, Just Love. So I published book 1 year ago, Just Love Tattoos and Sushi. So I created kind of merchandise come with it. So I have the t-shirts, I have hats, I have, again, like stickers, temporary tattoos. I'm going to have a keychains. So the latest one for me is the clothing, and I'm definitely going to take up on this direction. That's pretty much what I'm spending the most time right now. Hopefully next year everything should be like nice and on the website and properly. With the merchandise, I have enamel pins, I have temporary tattoos, I have stickers, I have books, I have art prints. So there is lots of other stuff also coming in the future for the next year, but this is just like little stuff I created on the way.
Awesome. They all look great. Like I said, what I saw in Vegas, the colors are very bright, and you could tell that you're taking the care to make sure that the ingredients that go into the merchandise are top shelf.
Oh, absolutely. Everything what I create has to be absolutely top shelf. So
yeah, it's very exciting.
And everything is made in US also. So I'm not working with any other companies besides here.
Oh, that's
I do
awesome.
everything here. Yeah.
Oh, and all the clothing too, or
everything. Everything I make here. So I have full control over it. If I need something, I just go there in person. I created my hats before or on the t-shirts. I'm still doing the labor work on them. So.
Oh, crazy! Awesome.
Ivana's inspiration is infectious. The power of positivity and love combined with direction and focus. Again, truly inspiring. It's great to catch up with her. The rest of that video can be found. Go to tattoonow.com/interviews. Since we had our interview with Ivana, she's won some prestigious awards over in Europe, so we will be catching up with her again. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. Our next tattooer is from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. She's awesome. She's into bio tattoos, also makes jewelry, has awesome pictures about foraging, has been in the Sketched Out sketchbook with 100 other artists. And frankly, anyone who can converse with Markus Lenhard for hours and days at a time is a friend of ours. On Instagram, it's at Tattoos by Miss Kaia, TATTOOSBYMISSKAIJA. I'm gonna pronounce it right. Kaia Heightland. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I'm
Awesome.
doing super well.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, and let's start with some softballs. Do you mind talking about maybe the Canadian tattoo scene a little bit and how you got into it?
Oh, sure, of course. I started tattooing just over 10 years ago on the Sunshine Coast, which is just outside of Vancouver. Super small town. No other tattoo shops except the one in Seashelt, and I got a summer job working there when I was like 17, and the guys both kind of partied a little bit and needed somebody to do line drawings for them in the mornings. So that's how I showed that I was good enough to draw, at least. And so I put together a little bit of a portfolio, and they took me on. Piot Barker and Sean Headley was working there at the time. And then a year later, a machine builder named Jesse Young bought the shop. So he kind of bought me along with the shop. He never wanted an apprentice, and kind of, I was kind of part of the package deal. So I ended up apprenticing under Jesse Young.
About how long did it take before you were tattooing on the public?
It was a couple of years, actually, before I started tattooing anybody after I started my apprenticeship. Like I said, Jesse bought the shop, and so there was a bit of delay because he wanted to kind of like reteach me a few things. But it was a really traditional apprenticeship. Like both him, like Jesse's quite a well-known machine builder, fabulous machine builder here in Canada. Sells his machines through Good Guy Supply, and him and Lucas Ford worked very closely together. So they use very similar geometry. So they do a lot of work together. Or in the past, have done quite a bit of work together.
Do they both do the Winnipeg convention, or? Yeah. I think Jesse does the Winnipeg convention. I've done it for the last couple of years as well. Yeah, cool. Always seems
but
like a stellar lineup. Yeah.
oh yeah, it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal show, and Rich, the guy who puts it on, is second to none. Like his ability to his promotional abilities are fantastic. Like great personality. Like ideal for our community here in Canada to be putting on a show because he knows everybody. He's so charismatic and so just super welcoming. Like he really wanted to put together a really family oriented show. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
like it is a little star studded and a little intimidating for that reason. But like it's very close. We're all very close here in Canada. Like our community is traditional in that sense. We have a lot of traditional values that kind of seep into our tattoo community.
You could tell, like from the show, that obviously there's a lot of care and love of the craft in it.
A huge amount. Yeah. And so like, yeah, Rich was actually one of the first tattooers that I met. He was really good friends with both Jesse and Piot. So I went to quite a few conventions in the prairies, like the Regina convention, smaller conventions, like more like biker run conventions and stuff for the old school kind of community. So like all of these guys were people that I knew like right from the beginning. So I ended up I don't really have any peers that are my age. All my friends in tattooing, all my colleagues are all, 40s and their 50s and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And that, with my apprenticeship and stuff like that, they were really, really stringent actually about like how much exposure I got to the internet and magazines and stuff like that. Like, of course, we still like had tons of magazines around the shop, but they were really adamant about me just doing conventions. Like right from the very beginning, I was doing conventions before I started tattooing, and like a huge emphasis on like machine building, putting machines together, the kinetics of all of that. And like I built needles. We still use steel tubes at the shop. I scrubbed all the tubes and everything like that. So they were pretty adamant about making sure that I, they already saw the shift happening, and they were really excited about having somebody in their shop who was a worker and really wanted to do all those technical things, like learning about mixing ink and building needles.
Yeah, so you're into the bio. How did that? Was that something that you were always into, or where was your introduction?
You know what? Honestly, bio from the 90s and tribal were the two things that made me want to get into tattooing in the first place. Those are the two things that I think probably resonate with the most. As far as like just fit and flow, those are two things that always attracted me to tattooing. I wasn't ever really interested in doing small tattoos, but I mean, for the majority of my career, that's what I've done is small tattoos. Generally being the only woman in a tattoo shop, you are afforded a very particular clientele, usually, right? So which I mean, that laid all the groundwork for all of my technical skill that I think that I have, that
you have.
But that's obviously all based on doing small tattoos and stuff. But my big interest was the idea that you could lay out a bodysuit on somebody. That was the coolest thing in the world. And like the only two real types of bodysuits that I saw, like when I was in high school, when I was growing up, was biomech and tribal. Those are the two things that I absolutely like. Guy stuff, obviously. Like my dad when I was still living at home, my dad got me a copy of Organica in 2004, awesome. The year that it came out, and he gave it to me for my birthday.
Oh shit, I've got it. It's like, right around the corner here. It's a fucking...
Yeah, and I was like, and just how excited I was. Like but that was like one of my first introductions to like tattooers who were also artists as well. And my dad he had seen this book, and I was super into mycology. I absolutely love mushrooms and mushroom foraging and stuff. And he just recognized right away, like all of that, like mycelial structure and fungus and all this stuff in Guy's work. And he thought I would absolutely love it. So like Guy's book, that one in particular, and all the reinventing stuff. And obviously like those, I got all those books before I started tattooing.
Awesome. Yeah,
before I ever got a job in a tattoo shop. Like that was, so I was kind of always what I want to do. And then Aaron's stuff, obviously I was kind of obsessed with too, when I was like 15, 16, and just drawing in high school. Like absolutely loved Aaron's stuff.
Cool. So what kind of tools do you use for your tattooing? Are you a digital person? You still do everything on paper or in canvas, or what kind of other original mediums are you using? Well,
for tattooing, I very recently, like within the last year, got myself an iPad. And it's really revolutionized the way that I do my drawings for my tattoos, because now I never finish drawing. I basically do like rough sketches and then I pull the line work off, and I can do like really, really intricate, really elaborate line drawings where I don't have to spend this huge amount of time doing a full illustration, because I definitely like in tattooing, like both the guys that train me to tattoo are like super talented illustrators, like comic booky, really natural artists. Like both of them are phenomenal artists, even though they're, you know, very traditional as far as tattooing goes. And I was encouraged to absolutely draw and render and do color studies for absolutely everything. And now, especially with biomech, digital just makes all the sense in the world to be able to manipulate, do a really simple sketch and then cut and paste and everything like that. It makes way more sense to be able to do that digitally. You save so much time, and with the amount of traveling that I do, there's no comparison. Like I don't have to bring a giant sketchbook and like a pack of pencils, my pencil sharpener. Like trying to sharpen a pencil on a plane is just one of the banes of my existence. And I never have to do that again. Like having an iPad and like being able to bring everything with you, and I do like some like digital like logo design and sticker design and stuff like that for like outside of tattooing as well. Like I do a little bit of like graphic design for people as well. So it's way easier designing a logo on an iPad than on paper and doing like rendered sketches for somebody who's probably gonna, you know, only pick one. So I definitely I don't illustrate as much anymore by hand. I really want to get back into that, but painting, I do a ton of painting.
Awesome. Oils or acrylics?
Both. I recently just got into doing oils. I've been using some water mixable oils, and I know that that's a little bit of like a no-no for people who are really into using oils, but I find that they're just, having a small apartment, it's a lot easier than using all the solvents and everything like that.
Sure.
But yeah, I love painting in acrylics. Like I've painted in watercolor and acrylic most of my life. And now having somebody to paint with is pretty amazing too. So actually being able to do like collaborative sculpture and then painting it, and then being able to paint on canvas with Markus is pretty remarkable.
Awesome.
It's something that he doesn't have a lot of background in, so it's nice to like kind of pull him into that a bit.
Into the real world. Should we pull him into the interview now?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think so. You want to jump in here?
You want to chat about how you met, or?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
If it's tattooey, not if it's gooey.
People love that shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, ratings. That's what we're trying to get here. We met online.
Yeah.
And,
Facebook.
Facebook and Instagram, and became pretty enamored with each other's work. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that, when people ask, one of the things that we talk about a lot is, like, as soon as I saw Markus, I've been following Markus for many years, but when I look at his work, sometimes it's really difficult to not understand how I can look at something and feel like it was something that I did and I don't have any memory of doing it. Like it's really bizarre sometimes. I think we both have that where, it's so intuitive, and we have such similar shape language. We use the same words. We use the same kind of diction, same sentence structure. And like anybody who's familiar with Markus's seminars, that's some terminology he uses for like a shape language. The way you structure a sentence, the vocabulary that you use, like the language that we speak is really, really similar.
It was crazy. I can remember the first time that I saw your work, and it immediately resonated in a way that is very familiar, in a way like you see somebody walking in the streets and that person looks familiar, and you talk to that person. It's not only like a familiarity, but you know that you talk to that person, and then as you are thinking about like, where do you know that guy, you actually realize like, oh shit, that guy looks totally like me. Does that ever happen to you? Where you look at somebody and you realize way later, because you're not used to seeing yourself, right? You're not used to having like an outside view on yourself. Expect if you see yourself on video all the time. And I saw some of her sketches for the first time. I was like, holy shit, that looks okay. I'm gonna pack that differently because it's so abstract. And I think that we understand this really well between us. We don't need a lot of words to explain that to each other, but it's such a weird.
We also don't need other people to think we're crazier.
No, exactly.
Than they are.
Right. Exactly. I think when you look at biomech, and especially if you look at somebody who does biomech really intuitively, there's a lot of honesty in there. There's a lot of, it's like your handwriting. You don't really think about how to change your handwriting into something that other people might like necessarily. And I think once you are at a certain level with biomechanic sketching or the biomechanic like media art, there's a certain honesty in there that really reflects your thought process and the things that you know about your subject matter, like the things that you know about biology, the things that you know about mushrooms, if that's something that leads into your sketches, the things that you know about physics or whatever.
Physics is a big one that comes into it, like yeah. dimension and fit and flow and everything like that. It's all physics.
And you can definitely tell when a person doesn't have that background and is attempting to draw a lot of biomech. You can tell that there's definitely a big part of the grammar of that language missing. Sure. And if the grammar is missing, things look a little skewed and scrambled. You can understand it, but it's not elegant necessarily.
It's a really hard thing to reverse engineer.
Yeah.
And that's like, and it's not impossible at all. Like you can totally start by learning like texture and general shapes and stuff like that. But unless you have that kind of concept of where everything is coming from, you are actually just saying a bunch of words. You're not.
Right. It's very nature's very like equation-y.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, it's very it's so formulaic. That's the thing too. It's
equation-y.
Equation-y. It's extremely equation-y.
The full interview can be found at tattonow.com/interviews, and it was a lot of fun meeting Kaia for the first time and talking about the biker conventions tattoo scene up there in Canada and how she navigated being the only female in a tattoo shop. And again, Markus is he's always a fantastic conversation. So go to tattonow.com/interviews for the full interview. Next up, we have 2 clips with interviews from Bastian, who was beaming in from Germany. He's from Italy. And Jesse Smith, who is currently in Richmond, and I think he's from the world. I think he grew up in a military family. I know he's well-traveled. And we will be talking about their awesome benefits. So this is the highlight for me, not only being able to plug art and artists, but to be able to plug benefits, because those are 2 of my favorite loves. And if you have a benefit that involves art, then email it over, management@tattonow.com, and for consideration for us to plug it. Let's catch up with Bastian now.
My name is Stef Bastian, and I started tattooing early 2000, like 2002, 2003, so it's like 15, 16 years. I'm from Italy.
Let's talk a little bit about the projects that you've been working on. So last year you did a great benefit that was hosted at the London Tattoo Convention, and you have another one going on this year. So let's start by maybe reminiscing about what was happening from the previous event while I fire up the website.
Yep. So basically, everything starts with the fact that I need to do a lot of things at once. Like if I get only one, I get kind of bored. I have all these ideas and I need them to like come to life. Otherwise, I get frustrated. And so one was this, which started as a silly idea of decorating something. And then I always tend to think big. So I wanted to involve, because I love collaborations. I love to put people together to do things with people, because then you get stimulated, you stimulate other people, and something out of this unity, out of this group, always new comes out. So I started with the idea of having like a small group of people that I could buy those dolls and give to decorate. And then I thought, no, let me call more friends. And then in 3 days, I had 100 people. from all over the world. I was like,
Nice.
wow, okay. So I thought, okay, this can be big. So perhaps I can make an exhibition. It's like sequential, you know. It's like one you get one step, you realize, and then you get another idea, and then you realize, and then it keeps growing. So you don't have the whole picture from the start. So I had all these people, I have these ideas. I said, okay, now this can be a project, coherent, and then I can perhaps do an exhibition soon. So I contacted Mickey Violetto, and he liked the idea. So then we had the exhibition, and then again, the next step has been the charity, which came kind of natural because I try in general with everything I do to have one thing in mind always, which is contribution, which is to give back something to tattooing, because I feel that it gave me a lot. And I can't remember who told me this, but made me think a lot over the years. And I always remember, what do I give to tattooing? You know, instead of just taking and being one part that is sucking from this world, I was like, how do I contribute to make this a little better than I found it?
People can find the more information about this past benefit and as well as the future one on this Stef Bastian Presents Instagram.
Yep.
Is that the best place?
Yeah, you could go on the Instagram because that's where you have the updates. So you have all the new, the next step is going to be this. You can find it here. That's how you're going to do it. So you have the updates, or if you want to have a bit more of a wide understanding of it and to see the results, you can go to my website, which is stefbastian.com. And then there I have like a more compact explanation of the project with links and stuff. So perhaps it's more easy to grasp at once, you know?
Awesome. So let me just, that's stefbastian.com, stefbastian.com.
Yep.
And so I'm here now, and we're checking out this next year's benefit.
Yeah.
So that's happening this in 2019 at the London show. Let's talk about that a little bit, and then we'll zoom over to the benefit.
Yeah. So like I was saying, I tend always to think big. So once I managed to realize this little dream that I had with last year project, I thought, okay, what's next? You know. So I thought, okay, this year had to be even bigger. And it coincided with the fact that this year is the 15th anniversary of the convention. So I wanted to represent loudly, you know. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going big. So I contacted over 200 artists. So far it's 215. And from more than 25 countries in the world. So they're scattered all over. And so you have people from last year and new people as well, like Robert Atkinson, Giorgio Arkeman, Juan Puente, you know, like awesome. big names. So the idea is a little different. Concept is kind of the same, but different. So this year is going to be Japanese paper fans called Uchiwa. And there is a concept this year behind the exhibition. Last year was more of a free interpretation. This year the concept is called the Tattoo Fan Club because I wanted to somehow celebrate the people that came before us and made possible for us to do things the way we do. Because, as I said, contribution and gratitude are two points that I'm really firm on, very, very fond of. So this idea came as well by the fact that I travel so much, and often I meet the younger generation, like in their early 20s, they've been tattooing for 4 years or something. And sometimes I hear things talking to them like, Philippe Liu, I don't know who that is. Like Tato, who? So I'm like, oh man, we're talking about the foundation of this, which means we're talking about, and other names as well, you know. So we're talking about Sailor Jerry, you know. So we're talking about the people that perfected or came up like Ed Hardy or something, you know, or came up with certain solutions that could be artistic or technical that you are using today, you're unaware of. So you don't know where those things come from sometimes. I don't want to put, again, everybody in the same group. But sometimes, you know, perhaps because people are new and you know, now the meaning of acquiring information are a bit different. So they're unaware of. And I think it's important, not for the sake of it, not to be, you know, to learn by memory all the history of things just for the sake of it, but because when you know where things come from, you appreciate it.
Last year, I started the Giving Arts Foundation. You know, I've ever since I've opened my shop, we've done tons of benefits towards, you know, just raising money for various causes. You know, I remember one of the first ones I did, we were raising money for one of my teachers, passed away from brain cancer. And so what we did is we took all of his designs and we kind of figured out which ones would make the best flash art. And then we made these flash sheets, and, we spent a day tattooing all his little flash designs on, the people who love him and then anybody who loves Loose Screw. And basically we just gave all that money to his wife and kid. So that was kind of one of the first ones. I get so much out of my career, like people just give me stuff all the time. I mean, I show up to work and I'll have 3 packages of people who've sent me t-shirts and stickers and, just things, sculptures and stuff. So, the career that I have has given me so much. It's good to be in a position to actually give stuff back,
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, it's always good. It's inspiring to see you do so much. I think you had one benefit already this year, and there's 2 more on the books. It's like I said, it's very inspiring for us to see you guys work so hard to benefit the community that that you're working with.
Yeah. Well, the good thing too is now that I have a nonprofit, I can do stuff, but then we can also bring other people in to do stuff. My partner from the Richmond Tattoo and Arts Festival, he's going to be doing some benefits as well.
Awesome.
So it's just good to be able to like have this place where everything can be collected. Before it was kind of like we would do these benefits. We're just like, oh, we're going to do a benefit. And then we would just collaborate with another nonprofit charity. Problem with that is we would say something like, 100% of the net proceeds go towards this benefit or towards this charity. And then we would give the proceeds, but then we would have no startup money for the next benefit we were going to throw.
Sure.
So now what we can do is we can snap money in, and then we can organize and figure out where that money is going to go to best benefit the bigger picture versus these small little benefits being individual. So.
Awesome. It's wicked exciting. I imagine that people can go to Loose Screw Tattoo and contact you if they're interested in either participating in these benefits or getting tattooed at one.
Yeah. I think right now Loose Screw is probably the best place to go. I drew up a logo for the Giving Arts Foundation. Hopefully we'll get that website up here soon. Get an Instagram up, all that good stuff. Make it a little more legit. But the paperwork just went through, I think, middle of January. So, which seems like a lot of time, but with all the stuff I got on my plate, it's definitely not a lot of time.
Stef Bastian and Jesse Smith's featured interviews will be in future episodes. For now, we just wanted to plug these benefits because they're happening like next week. Tattooing truly has an amazing, strong power to change you, and it will, regardless of whether you believe it or not. That could be for the good or for the worse. Let's make sure that it's for the good, right? Tattoos literally change you on the outside at varying levels of public display, as well as on the inside. This is inevitable, and it's amazing. As I started collecting, I didn't really believe it, right? I'd see people get tattooed and they'd puff up their chest or they'd feel, more beautiful. And I was like, dude, he's only skin deep. The same person that you were when you left than when you got here. And it's amazing because, the first tattoo I had gotten a couple of years earlier, I couldn't afford the parrot. My very first tattoo I got at the biker shop, and I was underage, so I thought I was going to be so badass. And I couldn't afford the parrot, so I got the dove, and I got a little dove on my ankle, and I felt badass. I felt rebellious. I was like, yeah, I got a dove on my ankle. I got a tattoo. Again, I was watching that happen to other people, and I was criticizing it. I didn't put it all together in my head yet. I'm like, you're just the same person as you were. Why do you feel better about yourself? Like I said, I was critical. But at the time, through the course of this period, I was getting highly visible tattoos, neck and arms and legs. And I realized that if I was an asshole to everybody that was talking to me about them, then I would just be an asshole dozens of times every day. And that's how I naturally was. I was relatively antisocial. I grew up antisocial. I didn't kind of half on the streets, and I thank my early friends for sticking it out, because I definitely had to learn how to communicate, by trial and error, and I was, like I said, I was wicked antisocial. I didn't really want to talk to people, and so it's just very unpleasant to be around. And it doesn't work like this for everybody, but for me, I was like, oh man, I guess I have to learn how to be nice to people every time they talk to me about tattoos. Like I said, otherwise I'm just going to be a jerk dozens of times every day, because I want to get these tattoos, and they're birds and pretty things. I realized years later, I'm like, wait a minute, as these clients are coming back, they had felt better about themselves. So they started acting better about themselves, and tattooing was teaching them the same lessons that it was teaching me. But there's a whole community of people that were actually becoming better people through the art of tattooing. Tattooing allowed them to become more complete. It allowed them to move ideas that are on the insides and bring them to the outsides, and to literally transform their bodies. And again, this also transformed their minds. And anyone that's been tattooed knows immediately there's a difference. As the transformation is happening during the process, immediately afterwards, then days and weeks later, the effect changes. It's not the same effect, but it's still there, and it's there until the day you die. It's the only art, one of the very few effects and forces that you can do to yourself now that will affect you until the rest of your life. That effect is either going to be good or bad. What we want to do is make sure that we are involved with amplifying positive tattoo experiences, because they're very powerful. Over the course of the last 2 decades, I've watched countless people improve their lives through tattooing. Tattoos mark a time and place. They are memorial tattoos for loved ones lost, literally trying to keep their spirit as close to us as possible, or tributes to living people whose spirits you'd like to conjure, or feelings from the inside that you want to manifest and make part of yourself now and into the future. Tattooing is amazing. You get to remember the past and also hopefully predict or kind of try to cast the spell for the future. Tuning into this positive effect that tattoos has is tremendous, because positive tattooing helps people become better people, and it happens as a group. It's like almost every business is like, I'm in the business of changing the world for the better, but in tattooing, if you're deliberate about it, you are literally changing people for the better. It's unbelievable to have helped and to watch countless clients use the power of tattooing to transform their bodies into who they feel they really truly want to be. To watch people use the positive effects of tattooing to commission world-class pieces of artwork that they get to view every day, but also other people looking at them get to experience these pieces of artwork to feel better about that energy and the connection. It's literally like an exchange of positive energy dozens of times a day. Imagine that effect both on the wearer, but also just in the community in general. It's infectious. It's so unbelievable. I'm so thankful that people appreciate this art and that it's really truly exploding the way that it deserves to. The more people that can experience, compounding positive effects due to awesome tattooing, then truly, again, it could make a dent in the negativity in the world and in the power structures. Tattooing is truly enabling both for the clients who are becoming more of themselves who they want to be, and then for people that are working in tattooing whose livelihood is made through making people more complete and better people. It's unbelievable. Ultimately, it's why I've dedicated my career and over 20 years to help amplify the positive voices and the positive effects of tattooers. They've inspired me to help create experiences both online and in the real world, to help inspire both collectors of art and tattoos, as well as tattooers and art artists, to inspire themselves and their peers, and to create these unique places and space and time to share, some of the very best that this art has to offer. To be able to manifest energies, tattoos have an incredible power, unlike anything else that is in the world, really. I mean, it's very unique to humans and to us. It's pretty amazing. Although that said, again, tattooing transcends all cultures. It transcends all political persuasions and thought processes. Everyone likes to get tattooed. Everyone. It is shamanic. It's sacred, like in a very secular way. But it's a process that will affect its clients. The people that are getting tattoos for the rest of their lives. It's so intense. I know I keep repeating myself, but it's important to stress that it's why it's not to be taken lightly. It's why research and patience is not required to get an amazing tattoo, but it's a amplifying effect, and the more patient you are and the more research you do, the better the quality of the tattoo you'll get, and the better the compounding positive effect you'll see out of it. So ultimately, the more in tune the collector is and the tattooer is with these natural forces, then the better the experience and the more positive effect we'll all see out of these great tattoos that are happening. Again, whether they're small or they're full body suits. As long as it's an amazing experience, a thoughtful experience, that's a positive one, then ultimately that's what we're looking for, right? More great positive tattoos out there in the world. Now I get it. this kind of spiritually shamanistic stuff isn't for everybody. Some people are just looking to get tattooed, and that's cool. Tattooing is wide open and available for everybody to engage in. Again, the more people that get tattooed, no matter what it is, no matter how cliche or entry level, the better. They might not know it now, but that is the start of the path to getting an amazing collection of tattoos. So ultimately, I'm here to help you get the best tattoo you can. Management at tattoonow.com. If you're looking for an amazing tattoo, we'll try to get you to the right tattooer. And or if you go to tattoonow.com and check out the image galleries, you'll see a lot of great tattooers there from all around the world. And this is just the start of the conversation. Find me in person and we could have a tasty beverage, a safety meeting, a tea, a coffee, and we could talk about tattooing as a cultural Trojan horse. Again, we could dive deep in all of this stuff. I love taking the online energy and turning it into real-world connections. So please, let's catch up and let me know in the comments section how tattooing has affected you. Positive, negative, how long ago? Do you feel all this energy stuff going on, or was it just much more simple than that? So that wraps up our pilot show. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let us know all the positive things in the comments or constructive criticism. Management at tattoonow.com. Trolls will be banned. If you don't like tattoos, it's none of our business, but just don't crap in our fucking living room. Please send future ideas and artists that you might want to see interviewed, again, in the comments, or shoot us those emails. Thanks again. Hopefully we'll catch up with you on the road somewhere. Cheers. Whether you're a collector or a tattooer, and whether you've seen this video or not, go to the Nick Baxter video. It's all about critiquing art. And if you are producing art on people, it's great as to certainly if you haven't seen it yet, to watch it. Or if you have, just to kind of refresh. It's pretty amazing, and Nick is a great painter and tattooer, so it's well worth your time. Also subscribe.